It's Athrop back here again with a new game called Frostpunk. And you'll have to forgive the Windows video playback here. I don't have any fancy software to use for dubbing, so just having to play it back and record my screen with some sound. It was way too complicated to try to record this and talk at the same time because everything is micromanaged down to individual resource quantities and such. So this is hard mode on a new home, and what this is a day one scenario, 200 plus wood, which is key. I'm not gonna bother like going into day 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. This is just how to get a power start. So we'll go ahead and play. You can see hard mode. Play. Yeah, okay, there we go. I was shopping around on YouTube to try to find some helpful tips and tricks, and I couldn't find anything that was better than what I was doing already. So the first thing that we need to do is child labor. I have beaten hard mode without child labor. It's really, really hard. So engineers on metal, and then we're going to put workers on the wood. The goal of this is to power harvest wood. It's a focused wood down, and then we're going to put our children on this metal and the rest of our workers on the wood. So the goal is to have as many people harvesting wood at all times as we possibly can. So we're going to fast forward now. Should take just a few minutes of game time here, just until we have enough to build a resource gathering post. And then we're going to take, well, we're going to queue it up first. And I've actually found a better way to do this, but I didn't know it in this. When I shot this video, I didn't know it. But what you can do, we're going to take our engineers off of here, off of the metal real quick. I don't know what the delay is. Probably just making. So if you just actually click none and then max, it'll take them all off and then reassign them. They'll grab up the building task that's been thrown in the queue, and then they'll automatically get reassigned. Okay, now we have enough to build our road. You can see I just let 10 engineers know. So now we have that road out there. It says 4 of 10 on the build there, and now so we let the additional 5 go, and we have 9 of 10. And so the other 6 guys are going to build roads. And as soon as they finish building roads, they will become idle. And I made a mistake here. I did not assign them back to the, oh, maybe I did. I need to assign them back to that metal pile. And yeah, there we go. So as soon as they finish, like you can watch, they're gonna, the 6 guys that went to build roads, they're each gonna build 1 road. And then they'll start, one of them will go back and it'll max out. So now that we have 4 iron in stock, we only need 1 more. So I'm going to switch those children over to wood as well. Like, remember, we want to focus wood as hard as possible. So we don't want any more than 10 iron. And as soon as we hit go, you'll see these guys are going to start building roads. Oh, I thought I wasn't recording, so I had to check I was recording there real quick. So any minute now we should start. So this is about like micromanaging your workers and not allowing them to get stuck on a random task. See, so that goes 7, 13. Like they're getting finished with their roads and they're heading back to the metal pile there. And that got us our 5th steel. See, now we have 5 steel. So we weren't worried about taking the children off the metal pile down there on the other side. So then we're going to start that building. And again, we're going to let all of our engineers go so they can work on that. So they're going to put 10 onto the first one. So now this is efficiency because we don't have to build any additional roads. And we're going to have all of our workers harvesting wood, every single one of them harvesting wood. So we're going to put people on each of the wood piles and then people in the gathering posts so that everyone is working actively on wood. And I'm really not sure. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to wait till that finishes, and then we need to assign some people to it. And we're putting our engineers in here because we want our engineers to be as warm as possible. We don't want them to get... Oh, maybe I didn't do that on this playthrough. I should have. That's a mistake. You want to put your engineers in the gathering posts because later on you're going to want all engineers available. You don't want them getting sick. So that was a mistake. I guess I've learned since then. Put your engineers in the gathering post, and your children are actually the ones that you want exposed to the elements the most because they can afford to get sick. They're going to be useless in a couple of days. We're not going to have anything for them to do. So let them get sick, and then we'll take good care of them when they're done being sick. So now we have both. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. You can see there. We've got both of our resource posts, or our gathering posts, and now we're just going to fast forward until 6 p.m., which is off time. We don't have any ability to work longer hours. We don't have an extended shift or an emergency shift. So there you go. We'll pause there. So that's 199 wood. 21 steel, we don't really care about that, but it's 199 wood. And you're thinking, Stan, you said 200 plus. Well, we spent 30 on gathering posts, so that was 229 wood that we just gathered in day one, which is enough to build us basically everything we could possibly want. We'll get going again, and we'll just finish out day one. You don't really need to look. I mean, that's all you need to know. Like, that's how you get the fast wood. You have to manage your workers basically exactly like that. It literally comes down to split-second timing of who you're putting where and when. So our first thing, if you're interested in the rest of the build, we're going to run a little reference road out here. Just because of the way I like to put things, it makes it easy to line things up. Absolutely, the first thing we want is a workshop. We're going to, as soon as this law resets, we're going to implement emergency shifts. That'll be day 2, but that's what I do anyway. As soon as 2 a.m. comes along and you get that extra law, you hit emergency shifts and you throw some engineers in your workshop and you go. You start researching and you never look back. It's emergency shifts all day long. So this gives us our, you notice we didn't gather any coal at all on the first day. So that was very intentional, and we need to focus down coal pretty hard on the second day to make up for it. But if you'll notice, I mean, I'm not sure if I'll show it or not. I can't remember. Like I said, I'm dubbing over another video, so I don't know if I'm going to show it or not, but everything that we're building, including the tents that we're going to put in a minute here, is livable. So it's a very comfortable temperature for anyone who's working or sleeping indoors. As long as they're not out in the cold, there's no real worries. So the generator isn't necessary until here at the beginning of day 4. Although I've noticed that there's a tendency overnight of day 3 into day 4, sometimes people freeze to death, so I usually turn it on a little early. So this is a free hope boost. I'll provide shelters for everyone. We already have the wood to do it, so we just wait for them to whine about it, and then bang. Oh, whoops. Put that in the wrong spot. Wait for them to whine about it, and then it gives you a little quest, and then you can get a free hope bonus for basically doing what you were going to do anyway. And you have to build these tents because we got no coal. So if we don't turn the generator on, people freeze, or we put them in tents. So that's your 2 options. I choose this option because it just gets everything out of the way. There we are. We've got our 2 resource gathering posts built for tomorrow. And basically our entire infrastructure is built. We have 32 wood left over. That's enough. If we wanted to, we could build a cookhouse. We want to save at least 10 wood because we're going to research at 2 a.m. before we have any resource income. We're going to start research, so we need to make sure that we don't spend more than another 22 wood no matter what. But basically what we have there is what we're planning to build today. But that's all your basic infrastructure minus a cookhouse. And I didn't point this out, but you start with 0 resources on hard mode. So there was no like, why don't you build a resource post first, or why don't you build a workshop first? None of that works. So you have to gather resources first. And then I choose not to take any of my guys off of gathering resources. I don't do any building until end of shift. And as you can see, you get everything built pretty quickly. See, where are we at time-wise? We're almost to the end of this video. And now I'm just assigning everyone as much as possible to work on the wood. We're putting the kids outside. Oh, maybe I didn't put the kids outside. You want to put the kids outside. Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm taking everyone off of these piles. That's what I'm doing, and then reassigning. So you want to put, of course, your engineers and your engineers where they need to go, and then put the remaining 5 inside somewhere. So I'm gonna put workers up here, because if you put kids up there, they have like problems. They miss days, they get sick, they injure themselves, whatever. And I'm not sure why I'm not putting engineers in there. So we'll put the kids out there on a wood pile. So there you go. We've got maximum production on the wood over there. The goal being to get that area cleared out by end of day 2. And it actually ends up clearing out like midday of day 2. All right, that's the end of that. Anyway, that's the best start that I can come up with, 200 plus wood. And you're basically ready to go. You can start research at 2 a.m. as soon as you get this emergency shift law signed. I think it's better to go with the child labor first and then the emergency shift after. And then I just build a second, end of day 2, build a second workshop, and then take your guys out of here and put them in the other one. And then you can do an emergency shift in that one at 2 a.m. the following morning. This has a 2-day cooldown, so you can just slip them back and forth every 2 days. And the reason I do that is you need a second medical post pretty quickly. So you can maybe put half a staff in there and power your second workshop with just a couple of guys or whatever. But anyway, that's the power start. 200 plus wood, day 1. Enjoy. What you do with it after that is up to you. Have a good day. And push that like button.